Hi, I'm Eric Hansen, and welcome to a special edition of Fireside Chats here on Backpacking TV. Today, we're going to be breaking down some of the main mistakes that backpackers make when getting into backpacking. Now, don't feel too bad if you've made some of these mistakes, because I myself, yes, a professional backpacker, have made many of these same mistakes. But we don't want them to happen in the future, so let's talk about all the things that people do wrong so that you don't ever have to experience that. Before we get into the video, I'd like to ask a quick favor to like the video and subscribe to our channel. It helps us better connect with our backpacking community here on the YouTube world. I would like to extend a big thank you to Mystery Ranch for sponsoring this tip series and for helping to make this possible. Mystery Ranch makes wonderful backpacks that are durable, burly, and will last a lifetime, and I highly recommend them for anybody looking to get into backpacking and wondering what backpack to buy. For those interested, check out mysteryranch.com for more information. The number one mistake that beginning backpackers tend to make, and even seasoned experienced backpackers, is overpacking your backpack. It's pretty obvious, but it's something that we regularly do all the time. And especially if you have minimal experience backpacking, it's really easy to think of all of the ways that you want to be comfortable, all of the things from home that you love living with, and you try to bring that with you into the backcountry. But anybody who has seen the movie Wild or has read the book Wild knows that there is a lot to learn and a lot that you don't actually have to take. And if you do overpack your backpack, it can make your experience truly miserable. Most people have a tendency to overpack their backpacks when just getting started. I think that for most people, if you are crossing the 40-pound threshold with your backpack, there's a good chance you're just carrying way too much stuff. So if you do want to check out my video on how to lighten your load, make sure that you check out that video, which will be linked below, to help make sure that you are not overpacking and that you can enjoy your experience on the trail. A backpack is one of your best friends and your most intimate hiking partners on the trail. And you develop a relationship with this backpack, and you get to know and understand each other. But when you're first starting out with backpacking, you may not know the ins and outs of your backpack very well. So I can't tell you how many times I have seen new backpackers out there not buckling their waist belts or not tightening the straps quite right, or just having a pack that is really ill-fitting. So one of the things that I definitely recommend is that first, you get a backpack that fits you just right. Make sure that it fits your torso length, the length from your spine, your C7 on your neck, all the way down to your lumbar and your spine. Get that measurement from somebody at REI or your local gear shop to help make sure that your backpack is fitted right. And then also just make sure that your straps themselves really are dialed in, because I cannot tell you how many times people just pull a backpack off the shelf, load it up with their backpacking gear and go, and I come across them and their backpack is not fitted even close to correct, and they're doing themselves a lot of harm and making their life a lot harder on themselves, leading to big time pain in their shoulders or their back, and those are things that can totally be avoided. So getting your backpack properly dialed in will go a long way to being comfortable and enjoying your time on the trail. Now, another mistake people make is a little bit more subtle, but it has to do with sleep. Now, a lot of people who are new to backpacking or camping in general tend to sleep very poorly at night, and then therefore associate camping or backpacking with these really negative experiences. And it's something to survive rather than enjoy. Now, I consider this a big mistake because you can do a lot better than that. I actually have come to learn to truly enjoy my sleep experience when backpacking, and part of that is just knowing some little tips here and there that make your experience a lot more comfortable. A lot of people also try, when it comes to sleep, that is the one spot where they try to save their budget because they just spent a bunch of money on their backpack, on their tent, on their stove, on their water filter, on their sleeping bag, and then they say, hey, all right, I'm kind of tapped out. Let's save some money. So they get a cheap foam pad and then end up sleeping very poorly because they're just not insulated from the ground, or they just feel all of the rocks and pebbles of the ground beneath them, or just feel really cold. Those are things that can also be avoided. So I do also have a video on how to sleep great while camping. I highly recommend you check that out. It will help you make sure that sleep is such a big part of your backpacking experience in the outdoors that you can actually truly enjoy it rather than slog to your tent every night and think, ugh, I got to spend another night enduring the cold and just staying up all night until the sun comes up. Let's do better than that. Enjoy your sleep. I want you to enjoy your sleep, okay? Another mistake I see a lot of young backpackers make has more to do with the ethics of backpacking than did they set up their tent correctly or did they carry their pack correctly, but it has to do with leave no trace principles. So a lot of backpackers, I can't tell you how many times I've been in a place and I've seen either people marking up the rocks, carving their names into a rock face, or leaving toilet paper around, or just leaving their trash around, or maybe even leaving a bunch of food from their dinner all over that is going to invite a lot of wildlife or animals to come into camp. And that's just not good for anybody. So I definitely think that adhering to leave no trace principles is a thing that unfortunately, it angers me every time I see it. I just want the general community to be better educated about the ethical practices of backpacking so that they don't make some of these mistakes. That could look like not burying your poop correctly, not carrying out your toilet paper or not burying your toilet paper correctly, leaving trash behind. Of course, always carry out whatever you bring in to a given environment and taking out your trash, not leaving stuff behind, not leaving stuff on the rock walls, not graffitiing up these rock walls. So please do yourself a favor and look up all of the LNT principles. I talk about it in other videos as well. But let's be ethical in the outdoors as well and not make some of these basic mistakes of mistreating our ecosystems and the wild places that we all love to go and experience. I've talked about it before in other videos as well, but I think a common mistake that people make with backpacking trips is they try to be too aggressive in what the actual mission is. I get it, everybody's excited to take their shiny equipment out for a big adventure that they've been dreaming up for years and years, and I think that's awesome. But I also encourage people to work up to some of these bigger missions. So that might look like going for a 5 to 8 mile adventure rather than a 10 to 15 mile adventure. Because what a lot of people don't understand is that their body will just break down as the day goes on, as the mission goes on, and your body feels a lot differently at mile 10 or 15 than it does at 5 or 8. And a lot of people just hit a wall where after their 9th mile, they just physically start to fall apart and then they become miserable on the trail. And I've seen it more times than I'd like to count. And so I think that if that might be you, that you are on the less experienced side of things, well, do yourself a favor. There are a ton of amazing backpacking destinations that don't require epic missions to go accomplish. So I want you to enjoy your early backpacking experiences, learn the nuances of backpacking, learn how your body reacts to backpacking, and then tackle those more ambitious adventures as you gain more experience. The last thing I want to talk about with backpacking mistakes are some of the more serious backpacking mistakes people make that can actually lead to big trouble. So one of the things that I see people do is they don't bring a physical paper map with them, and then maybe they only bring their phone with them for navigation, their battery dies, and then they get lost. And then maybe they also compounded the getting lost with, say, not telling somebody their plan, not letting people know where they were going to go, not signing in on their registry what their plan was at a trailhead, and then not giving people the ability to help them if they actually get in some real serious trouble. Another mistake I see people make on safety has to do with under-preparing. Let's say it's summertime and you think it's going to be plenty pleasant out there, and so you don't take your rain jacket, you don't take a beanie or gloves or some of your cold weather or inclement weather protection because you assume that it's going to be nice, and then you get back there and a freak storm comes in or something rolls in the mountains and catches you unprepared and leaves you high and dry and maybe in a dangerous hypothermic situation. Now, I've heard the stats on this. I'm not 100% sure the veracity of this, but that more people get hypothermia when out in the wilderness in the summertime than they do in the wintertime. And that has a tendency to do with people underpreparing or underestimating what Mother Nature might have in store for them. So if you take your rain jacket with you all the time, no matter what, even if you get that freak storm to come in, you'll still be okay, you'll still be safe. So on this physical safety things, I like to have a physical map with me, not just relying upon technology that can be finicky in the backcountry, batteries can die, things like that. Let people know, let a ranger station know, let a parent, a brother, a loved one know where you're going to be, what your plan is, what's the plan, the protocol for if you don't show up after, say, day 3 or day 4, whatever it might be. And then also some other things is researching ahead of time, know what your water sources are going to be, know some of the logistics so that you can accurately plan for your trip without getting into some of these physical dangers that can come up with backpacking. Now, I don't want that to scare you. These are extreme examples, and most of the time people go out and the worst thing they encounter is a blister or two, and I hope that that is the case, although bring some moleskin and avoid getting blisters. So that's my video on mistakes that people make. I can't tell you how many times I've overpacked, I've gotten lost, I've gotten dangerously cold because I just didn't plan ahead. And I don't want that to happen to you. So please take these notes from me and enjoy yourselves out there. Now, if you have some things that you think I can learn from, something I missed out, or you just have an epic experience, some boneheaded thing that you did where it went totally wrong, I'd love to hear about it. And yeah, so let me know in the comments below. And thanks for sticking around and watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, again, please like the video, subscribe to our channel, and I can't wait to hear what misadventures you've had out there. Okay, that's it for me. I'm Eric Hansen with Backpacking TV. I'll see you later.